Yes.
Takhir is here.
Yes, I know.
I like you guys your discussion. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Sorry,
You know,
we didn't see you came
you
back.
learn more when you practice, when you do some projects.
You
And
look at the super Zamat list and something. I checked everything, I understand everything, but I can't repeat by myself. It's just impossible. It's too many
oh
things.
no, you have
Yeah,
to
I
start
think
with the
it's
basics,
good to
like
practice.
real basics.
I don't. Is Azamat's project not basic?
Yeah, he kind of like he's already developer, so it's not it's not a problem for him like do some magic with the arrays and all that stuff. You have to start like with like maybe начать с того, что просто лист показать в этом на web-page, no?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nursultan, you need to sign up for the meeting with Marat and talk about that. Okay.
Yep.
So you haven't signed up yet.
Yeah, guys.
Yes, I
Guys,
know.
guys, please sign up and talk to Marat and explain if you are so falling behind or not understanding something, guys. I don't know why you are not asking questions and yeah, you have to go and sign up and have a one-on-one.
I really
Yeah, one-on-one
fixed my bug
meetings.
yesterday. Oh no, today. Today.
It's important to talk actually because it's hard to know what you as like let's say for me, yes, I cannot see what's in your head and I cannot watch all the classes from say tech from and sometimes it's kind of challenging to know if you're good enough at some topics or not, you know. So that's the right idea to talk and more and say where you're challenging.
It's really hard to debug, to be honest, JavaScript. Yeah, you don't know where the error is.
No,
Yeah,
actually,
when you try to like open up the page again and again, you see the same error. Really irritating.
JavaScript is a script kind of interpreter type of language. So you
Yeah.
compile it to the whole file.
But compile it is easier, you know. Like you can step by step do it. But when you load the whole page again and you don't know even you can mistype the data type, like you know, like misunderstood it. Maybe you thought it's gonna be string and then it gets an object and then the whole page is crashes.
Yeah, it's there are a lot of techniques, and there is a TypeScript. It's extension of JavaScript, which doesn't let you to provide wrong argument to your function if it's not that what you expect to be. So
Yeah.
TypeScript solves this problem actually.
Mm.
All right, guys, let's come back to this function, and I think we can talk a little bit about these problems after the class. So I have to introduce you to these topics, and we can talk about that if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Oh, all my applications get closed. Yeah, I think we it looks clear with the set timeout. It takes more arguments which are being provided to our functions. Let's say we can type in some arguments first, arg, and second argument. And whatever argument you insert after, sorry, it's supposed to be in the parentheses scope. And whatever you pass after the number of milliseconds of delay is starting from third arguments and to the whatever you have here. All of those values are going to be passed to our callback function as arguments. So we can take a look at that. this way. Print function. Let's update our print function and print console log arguments. Arguments. Is it right? Right. And let's say we got errors and it is great. -s. Arguments are not defined. Why is that? Maybe we can do it like this. 1, 2, 3. We want to delete this and this. We need just one function for now.
So you need to provide in same the timeout inside.
Timeout. Sorry, can you say again?
You wanna console log argument. You wanna send argument from set timeout to function? Or
Yes.
what?
Yes. We need to test it. So I would like to set here, let's say A or X, Y, and let's say Z. But we don't have arguments here for some reason. Let's do it 1 second. Arguments are not defined. Why is that?
It's misspelled Takhir. So argument N, you're missing N. It's
Nice.
typo here.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much. Okay, good. Yeah, it prints us arguments what we provided to our function. So if we want to access them by arguments, or we can access them one by one, it doesn't matter. arg1, arg2, arg3. Well,
Can we provide as argument arrays and other things?
whatever whatever you want to provide, you can provide the object. You can even provide another function as the argument. Let's say So dot log. We can even provide console log here as another callback function. And this function is going to be provided to this function as the argument. Let's say function. And we just go on to call it. You see, we provided this argument. So I think it makes sense. Who's not following that at the moment? I think Nur Sultan is following.
Yeah, I understood.
It makes sense for you, right?
For everybody else too, I think.
Okay, that's great. But it looks a little bit challenging to catch in the beginning, especially if you're working in a huge project. It's not been considered as the best practices because your project and your code should be readable and easy to understand. Sometimes this construction may be not that clear or understandable, especially in scope of the huge project. So, but technically it can be implemented. Well, any other argument beside the time frame is going to be argument we pass to our function. But let's take a look at those value which we return assigning this timeout. I suggest us to create a variable named timeout return for the beginning, and see what is it giving us. Ret, it's like return. Okay, naming is important. Well, yeah. Function is not a function. Yeah, we can see that a return of our timeout is some integer or some number. Let's take a look if we have more than one of this. Return. Let's say it's 1, it's 2, and it's 3. Let's say 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, and 3. So what's going on? Why is that happening? When you assign this function, it creates under the hood, it creates a pool of asynchronous code. So technically, it's not a return, it's actually timeout ID. Returns timeout ID. And you can access, by this ID, you can access this timeout and break it interruptions later on if you need to. So we are going to take a look at that on project using some HTML elements. So it returns ID. Okay, that was pretty much it about timeout. We already kind of have imagination what is that, what are parameters it accepts, what it returns, and we discussed some use cases, and we're going to see more use cases later on. Let's take a look at set interval, and I think we can take a short break. Suggest us to delete these printings. Oh yeah.
Excuse me, I didn't get it about this timeout ID. Why it returns ID?
It's just
did it return from the set timeout or what?
Yeah, set timeout function returns. It has nothing to do about its argument or content. Under the hood in JavaScript, it has some, let's say, pool of asynchronous code. And not the asynchronous pool. And in this pool, we have kind of array of timeout and interval asynchronous functions. And these functions just being recorded. Okay, we got just one timeout function. It takes ID of 1 and returns the ID. If we have more than one asynchronous function, like a set timeout or set interval, they take the next ID available. So it's kind of just for convention. And then if you want to cancel it before it executed, you can access it by ID. But the first function is always going to be with ID 1.
Okay, and then when we console log that 3 timeout returns, why we didn't become? We see only one function printing.
Yeah.
But why not the three of them?
Okay, print function printing. Yeah, let's take a look. Why is that happening? So you see, we got 3 timeouts with the same function, right? And they have to print call print functions 3 times. Let's give it 1 second. It's going to be 2 seconds. It's going to be 4 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, and 3.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's printed, but it's the same thing. That's why.
Yeah, it was at the same time frame, so you didn't see the difference because it was printed with the number 3, so it was 3 printing.
So we can interrupt or by the idea of the set timeout.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're next hour we're going to do some cool funny projects. Maybe not that cool and funny, but project which is going to use interruption of timeout. Yeah, let's come back to timeout later with the practice in it. And let's take a look at set interval. Returns timeout ID. I think we can use it. Put it here. Use cases. Yeah, this is our notices. Printed before printed value. Okay. We can leave the print function update value. We didn't use it. I want just to make it clear. And before delay, like we can shift it in the bottom. set interval works the same way as set timeout. So arguments pretty much the same. First argument is going to be our print function callback. Second argument is going to be some sort of time frame, and the same as previous example, it should be done in milliseconds. And other arguments or parameter of our set interval, the same x, I'm sorry, should be like that, x, y, and z are being passed to this function, of course, if it accepts any a, b. Imagine it does a, b. Well, yeah, let's take a look what is going to give us. Actually, what is going to what is happening right now? I don't like this thing. Excellent. Printing is just printing executes this function as many times, unlimited times, with the interval of 1 second. We can compare this interval with the loop, with for loop, while loop, or any other loop. Let's say while true, and we just take this print function and execute it, right? It is a very rough, but we execute it, and here we say delay 1 second or 1000 milliseconds. Of course, it is a pseudocode. It's not a real code. So call this function and make a delay and call again, and call again. We can say 0 seconds interval, and then this function is going to run like crazy, like an actual for loop or any other loop. Okay, let's stop it. And what it returns us? It returns interval ID const. And if we print the interval ID, of course, it's going to be 1. But if we do more than like that, it's going to be the same way as before, 1 and 2. But now we have more asynchronous functions, let's say.
So, like, and where can we use this interval?
This interval is used for animation, for some UI elements to represent. Let's say we have a carousel effect when our, let's say, product is shifting every second and shows another like second, third, and fourth picture. It's been called carousel. Yeah, let's take a look at some cases.
It looks like this method makes our project very heavy. Is it true? Or not?
Not much actually. It's been called asynchronously, and it's not doesn't make your code base too heavy. Yeah, let's use the use cases. So something some repeatable logic similar to loop logic, but with delay. Also, it can be used with some backend request. Let's say we want to ask what is the temperature outside, right? With our application cannot measure the temperature because it doesn't have a sensor. So it has to request the temperature or some value every 1 second. So we can make this request, or it's going to send your location to backend server every minute or every 5 minutes, or collect your data during 5 minutes and send some statistic data to backend server. Or post. Carousel effect. Maybe you can give me some idea where you have seen this loop logic on the website.
Yeah, I think the schedule update every time to update the schedule. For example, for a bus, next bus will come at, I don't know, in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes.
Yeah, update
Something
the
like
schedule. Update the schedule. Let's take a look at some websites. Let's see, eBay maybe.
I see it sometimes with ads. When you close ads, it's coming
Ads?
again. And yeah, small screen.
It should be maybe casino.
You're gonna play casino?
No, I wish we can, but in my area it's not allowed. It's not legal. I mean, you cannot play unless you have VPN. Just
Yeah.
want to look some logic.
Yes, it's not easy to find the exact example.
Yeah, when you don't need it, your web page is just like a Vegas. Everything is spinning, everything is rotating, and stuff like that.
Maybe some.
Well, yeah, this is a carousel, so it's kind of shifting on its own. You see, it maybe takes like 10 minutes or 10 seconds or 5 seconds, and it's been shifting.
It is not set time just?
Most likely
Set interval, right?
Interval.
Yeah, interval. Yeah, it's set interval. So it's gonna be doing, I think, forever.
Automatic.
Yeah, you see,
Only once, right?
not once. It's in a circle.
I meant about set time. Or set time out, I forgot.
Yeah, set timeout.
Yeah, set timeout. It's
Yours only
It's
one.
gonna be doing forever.
No, set timeout is just once, right? Here. Set
Uh,
interval is
oh yes.
forever.
Yeah, that's right. Set interval is you just set interval of loop. Set timeout is just a timer, one-time timer. Okay, well, I think before we go to break, we can take a look at this diagram and take a look at what we covered. And do you have, if you have any like gaps in understanding what is that, what parameters, what returns, and use cases?
So you said set interval is also returning ID, right?
Yes, and the thing
Okay.
is, they say they are in the same pool. Let's combine them together. I'm gonna say interval ID, and let's say timeout ID, or like that, timeout ID, and we're going to set timeout. We're going to use the same function. Let's say interval is going to be in 1.5 seconds. We can get rid of these arguments, so we're not passing them. Okay. And let's print its IDs. Oh, now command V. Yep. Even if we assign it to different, like we got two values and they return us 1 and 2, because under the hood they are in the same array. They, for some reason, they start not from 0, they start from 1, 1, 2, and stuff like that. So it's kind of the same data pool for all of them. Like that. That was pretty much it for explanation. Next hour, we're going to build a small project to cancel timeout and cancel interval function, and try to make a debouncing function and take a look why it's necessary. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Well, see you in 10 minutes.
We're already moving on. Or oh, okay.
Tahir, did you start the class? Tahir, we can hear you.
Oh my God, sorry. God damn it. Sorry, I was talking. I forgot I didn't um turn on my mic. Yeah. Yeah, in this small project, I created 2 buttons. I give a functionality to increment button to enlarge, increment the count from 0 to 1 plus 1 every time. So I access the button, I added event listener click, and I created increment handler function and pass it to our event listener. So every time we click on our button, this function increments count by 1 integer value and reassign our counter value, which is h1. And it works so forth. It's pretty much simple mechanism. Let's do some magic to that. Let's add some delay. So instead of colon increment handler right away, I suggest to add something in between. Some set timeout function with timeout of 1 second. So every time I click increment, it's not happening right away. It's going to happen with a delay of 1 second. Do you guys have any idea how we can implement that? Actually, let me ask you first.
Just use it keyword set timeout, put name of function and time.
Can you help me to write it down, say in what line I have to add it?
Like what to write?
Yeah, just maybe you can help me to write it down right here.
Const. Delaying button delay.
Delayed button. That works?
I think so. Equal set timeout dot. Oh, was it
Set
timeout?
timeout.
Name of function.
Okay. 1 second, right? 1,000.
I think that's all what we need.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's try to add this variable here, right?
Oh, I thought, okay.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I misunderstood. I shouldn't put it here, right? What you suggest me to do then? Yeah, let's try. Let's try this thing and see if it's gonna work. But we already see some sort of cannot access delayed button before initialization. Okay, let's move it down there. And then target parameter. It wants us to pass a parameter, but it's actually right now it's kind of number 1 because the timeout returns 1, and this is a delayed button like ID of our timeout. But idea of using timeout is very right.
Can we do without the cons? Just use set timeout.
Like that?
Yeah, and put function name in event listener.
Here.
Mm.
Okay, let's try it. Okay, Control S. No. It's giving us an error. Because whatever value we provided here, you see, it's actually incremented one time, because it worked one time when you kind of, when we put it here, it was called and executed one time. So event handler was like one time called, but that function itself returns integer or number. For this purpose, I think we can do something in between, some abstract functions. Let's say, let's call it function click handler. It's not going to take any argument. Let's move it down here. So we're going to use click handler. Every time the click handler is going to be clicked, we're going to say set timeout with increment handler. Can even say, yeah. Set timeout with increment handler. Yeah, there you go. Now it's supposed to work. 1, 2, 3. Let's say we click it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that works with a delay of 1 second. Let's make it 3 seconds.
Here I really confused. I thought set timeout works only once, but it repeats like the like interval. I don't see it now.
Yes, you're right. Set timeout works only one time, but I click it 3 times, right? So it as many time I click it, as many time is going to have action. As many time is going to call increment function.
Yeah, I just didn't see that you clicked many times. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Increment. But for that case, we can even, actually not. I'm not gonna assign to any value for now. Let's add another function and call it timer. Timer, let's say, that was increment. Timer. Start timer. Start timer. Timer button. I'm going to copy this value and create just another variable. Timer button. Timer button. Okay. Let's add some function to our timer button. So let's say timer button that add event listener. Click. and timer, timer under, kinda right. Let's describe what this function is supposed to do. This function is supposed to take no arguments, but every time we click it, it should make our timer to count up with some interval. So this is idea of the timer. And of course, you may want to say we want to use set interval, right? Set interval. And every time we have to click increment handler. And let's say in every 10 milliseconds, 1,000 milliseconds. And now we can see our function is running every seconds with interval 1 second and increments 1 time, 1 iteration. We can say not 1 second, let's say 300 milliseconds or 1/3 of the second. You can even say 1000 divided by 3. So it's going to be exactly 1/3 of the second. Start timer. Or even 1/5. So it's gonna, each second is gonna increment 5 times. Cancel. No, cancel doesn't work. Actually, we can help with increment button, but it's okay. But you see, guys, I click it few times and it starts running like crazy. And nothing can stop it. I can click more and more time and something doesn't look right here. We have to stop it somehow. I want to give you a short assignment. I want to copy paste my code and give you 5 to 10 minutes to create a solution to stop the timer using button cancel and using function clear timeout. Clear interval. We have to stop execution of timer. Clear interval and your button cancel. I hope this exercise is something you can handle in 5 minutes. Okay.
Where did you send the code?
I'm sending in Slack to the comments section. CSS. And JavaScript. JS. And I can resend it to Zoom chat as well. Whatever is more convenient to you, to use it from Slack or from Zoom chat.
From Zoom, I think it's not actually long.
Okay, that was HTML. This is CSS. And JavaScript. When you do this exercise, you can text me with the solution just right behind this comment section. Let's say you add something below and you just copy paste what you did to Slack or personal private as a private message in Zoom. And after 10 minutes, we can take a look at the solution together. Okay, anybody has a progress in this solution? Has any solution in this issue, this problem?
I couldn't. I tried 3 options. No one doesn't work.
No. Okay. Anybody else?
I tried to also, but I changed a little bit our code. I used this method, clear interval, but yeah, I stopped it, but the main, so increment handle doesn't work when it stops.
Okay. I think you did a good progress that you tried it to solve it. And now let's take a look at the solution. We know that set timeout and set interval function return some sort of ID. And let's take a look at this ID. So here we call our set interval. And we would need to assign this value to some variables. Let's say const timer ID is equal to set interval. So here we're going to run our timer and make it ID for that. But the thing is that the scope of the function is more specific than the global scope of the whole application. So in this case, we cannot access, let's say in here, we want to use clear interval. Clear interval. We're supposed to provide this timer ID to clear interval function somehow. This is not going to work because for that to work, we need this clear interval inside of this timer handler, but it is not possible. We don't want to use it with the same scope. So for that purpose, I would like to get the value of our interval. Let's make it let or const. Let's make it let, and we're gonna see why. Let's say let timer ID is going to be 0. Any other timer is going to be 1 or anything else. We can say, okay, timer ID now is something we return from the timer upon the click. Okay, now when we click the timer, the value of timer ID is probably 1. Next, I would like us to take cancel button and add event listener. Of course, it's going to be click. And let's say cancel handler. We're saying it should be a function, and we're going to describe it. Okay, cancel handler function taking 0 arguments, and when it's clicked, we want to say we want to clear interval with the ID of timer ID. Let's try it. Start timer. 1, 2, 3. Yep, timer was canceled. Start it again. Cancel. Well,
Oh.
it works.
Here, if you will increment from 0, can you please try to increment from 0 to like 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't matter.
With a timer or with a manual incrementer, like that?
And start timer. I thought it will become a 0.
No, it's not becoming 0 because for incrementation, for incrementing, I'm using the same function. So I just separated the logic of incrementing, right? I used it like increment handler. We can rename it for better. Increment count.
Just created new variable timer ID which equal to 0, and it's happened when you click start timer, I thought.
Yeah, we can, start and resume timer from 0. I think the timer is kind of simple, but a lot of things should be done to handle that. Let's say if I click the timer 2 times or 3 times, you see it's working kind of wavy. Or let's say 1, 2. See? So we shouldn't be able to click it 2 times and make a mess, right? And when I say cancel, it canceled just the second timer. So we do like 2 timeouts, 2 intervals at the time. We shouldn't allow it to do so. So for that case, we can use like a timer state, right? We say let's timer state and say false, right? False. And if we were timer handler, right? And we can say if timer state is true, return. And now our timer is not gonna actually. We did not.
You accelerate him.
Yeah, I accelerated like a Need for Speed. Else, we say timer state is equal to true. And we have to move it here before we. Okay. Okay. What's wrong? It should be inside the function. Yeah, now it works. But if we click any more times, it's not gonna. And the same with the cancel. We say timer state is equal to false. So start timer. Additional click doesn't work. Cancel. We can say a pause. But now we start again. Cancel. And here we can do conditional rendering. When we click and stop, we substitute start to resume and stuff like that. But yeah, as many features you want to add to this counter, you're free to do that.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When we created new variable let timer ID, it means that when we use it in function timer handler, it becomes one timer
yeah,
ID.
Yes.
And then we just clear it.
Yes. We just reload our page, and JavaScript run the whole file from top to bottom one time. When we click timer button one time, we execute timer handler function, and timer ID from 0 is being assigned to the value which set interval returns us. So now this ID from this function goes here, and sequentially now it substitutes or overwrites 0 to 1. And when it's 1, and when we click the cancel button, the clear interval function goes to this variable, and it finds out that the variable value is 1. And 1, it is ID of this interval we just set here. So this function knows that we have to cancel this interval we just assigned.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, Takhir. For some reason, my code is not stopping that timer. I did the same kind of code, but it's not stopping. I don't know why.
Make sure your timer assigns the value, and then you provide the ID to the clear interval.
Yeah, I did the interval ID. I created constant outside that function.
Oh, you need to be let, not constant.
Probably, yeah. Maybe it's let because we cannot reassign constants. Okay.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, makes sense.
Nursultan, good job.
Oh, okay. Now it's working.
Now it works.
Because I had the same issue.
Okay.
Good job, guys. So I want to mention one thing. You can say, you see, we use set interval and we use clear interval. So it's like a Tom and Jerry, you know. It's like a bad guy and good guy. It's antagonist functions, so they kind of oppose to each other. Let's print them. So it's set interval goes versus clear interval. But also set timeout is going to have antagonist function clear timeout. And in this example, we can use function, sorry, not that, clear timeout. On click event button event listener cancel or pause, we can cancel this interval with clear timeout, and it should work the same way it worked before. Let's say start timer, and cancel still works. So that means so this function is going to work on this also. and clear interval also is going to affect set timeout. As I mentioned before, it's all because they use the same asynchronous pool. And they create ID and not repeat their ID. Let's say you remember we printed two function and they have ID number 1 and number 2, but it's not considered to be a good practice to use set interval and clean up with clear timeout. It's always a good practice if you run this function to use it antagonist. Yep. And do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, about the clear timeout.
No. Oh,
So, clear interval, he just stopped, right? He stopped the increasing of time.
Clear interval, yeah.
He just stopped this action. Set timeout, it happens once, and what he gonna clear?
Yeah, clear interval, you can say it's like a loop. And this is just delay. Loop and break, where a loop is set interval, break is clear interval. Clear timeout, it's kind of the same, but break, maybe stop. Interesting thing. I would like to come back to this project, and let's say we increment it with delay of, how many delay do we have here? 3 seconds, right? What we click 1, 2, 3. Okay. If we assign increment to some ID, say let's ID is equal to 0. Somebody assign it to null, undefined, or anything else, or leave it with no value. I just, from my personal habit, like to assign it to value of 0. So we have increment ID, and we say increment ID is equal to set timeout. And on cancel, I want to say clear timeout and of this guy as well. So neither we have timer or we have delayed incrementation. This should work. So increment 1, 2, 3 work. Now if I click increment and cancel it, it's not gonna happen. So I have 3 seconds to cancel my intention to increment. You see, I click increment and cancel right away. So I have like 3 seconds time frame to do so.
Actually, now you are using still clear interval.
Yeah, but not the good practices. Clear timeout. Sorry, it's a good case.
It's very specific thing. Yeah, it's clear timeout to cancel before delaying.
Yeah, it's we can use it. Timeout actually is a good thing to do debouncing. We're going to do debouncing in the 3rd hour, and we're going to do something to do list. to cancel to do, or maybe give it delay to cancel it, right? We're going to take a look at that. But before we come to the next topic, I want to introduce you to event, the term event loop. JavaScript MDN. Well, event loop, it's a built-in mechanism in JavaScript engines. JavaScript engine is a cryptic type of language and is being interpreted to the code, to the machine code. That means cryptic means that it doesn't have its own like base. It been run in some type of environments. In this specific case, we run our JavaScript code in the browser. Actually, it can be run in some environment like Node.js. It can be run in Postman application. So like JavaScript language is not independent. And our browser provides to JavaScript event loop, which allows us to run synchronous and asynchronous code. I'm gonna take my pencil and show you. Well, here in stack, all synchronous code is being executed. And all asynchronous code is being executed right after the, maybe it's not this the best.
Right after the queue? Oh no, stack?
Yeah, the stack. The stack of asynchronous functions has a very, very top priority.
Okay.
So as soon as the all asynchronous code is being executed, the JavaScript event loop is taking tasks and functions from asynchronous code and start executing them. Well, this is the whole idea why our event loop asynchronous. And even if we, that's why we can, like, you remember you asked me if we put delay or like some time of delay, so we're not gonna see like the execution code after that until delay ends. No, it's not going to work like that. I'm going to print you 3 lines of code. First, let's say set timeout, console.log 1000 milliseconds. We're gonna print second and third. Now I have a question to you. Before we open console log, how we are going to see our execution? Like, in what order all these words are going to be printed? Nursultan.
Why me? First, third, and the second.
First, third, second. Okay. Let's take a look. First, third, and second. Very good. Imagine I put 0 here. So that means no delay at all. What execution is going to be right in this case? Maybe Biktur can tell me?
Like,
Not Nursultan. But if you guys have the same or opposite,
Same.
yeah?
It's the same, I think. Same.
So it's gonna be first, third, and second, right?
Yes.
Biktur, you agree?
Yes.
Mhm. First,
If any,
first.
Nursultan will be responsible.
Mhm. Who is not agree?
Okay, I'm not agree.
Yeah. Why?
I I I didn't understand when you explained about the fall, but I feel that if not delaying,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I can just guess. I just wanna.
First, second, third, right?
Yeah, I think second version in this
This
case.
one, right? Okay. Here we have just Nur Sultan. Here we have Diktur. Okay, Kai, right? I'm not. Okay, anybody else?
What about you?
Want-
Tak? Which group you gonna join?
uh, I don't know. I'm going to test. I'm a tester.
Okay.
Anybody else want to join Nur Sultan or Diktur team? Just your thoughts. Okay. Let's try it. Command S. First, third, and second. Wow. Why is that happening? Even with the delay of 0 seconds, the set timeout remains to be asynchronous. That means it waits for all function to execute, and then after the whole scope of code is being executed, is being put in a queue to execution. I might find some interesting.
Is it gonna stay anyway that set timeouts? Then I think you need to explain a stack, heap, and queue.
I think it's topic of the further topics when we're going to cover asynchronous code. Um, it's say tech. I think we have to cover this topic with asynchronous code curriculum courses JS. Yeah, in async. But for now, since we already covered the timeout and it's been asynchronous, I'm giving you a short explanation. If you find yourself comfortable to dig a little bit and find some information before you cover asynchronous code with Azamat, that would be a great addition to your class at this day. But it's a very huge topic, and I think we don't have a time for it right now. Yeah, but for now, for the beginning, you have to know that there is two lines, synchronous and asynchronous. And in
So here we need some break.
yeah. Okay, let's take 5 minutes break and come back. I'm gonna prepare the next project for you, and we're going to finish it at our um, third hour. Okay, see you in 5 minutes. Okay, guys. Well, here I commented out the rest of our project, and we're going to cover debouncing topic. It's very important because debouncing is a technique. It's been used commonly used in front-end development, and of course there are some solutions where you can import these functions from some library, and you didn't have to make it from scratch. But definitely you're supposed to know how it works under the hood. So here I created two fields. I think, is it bothering you guys, this timer above this our create username and field, or we can leave it? I wanted to hide it.
You can leave it.
Fine.
Okay, that's fine. Well, for this example, I created two username, create a username. Yes, three elements. This is kind of header, right? Create your username. Second, it's h2 count, but I would like to replace it with username value. Mhm. And text field where we're going to type something in our project. Identifier inp already been declared. Inp, yeah. Input input field and printed value. Okay, sounds good. Oh gosh, yeah. Let's say we want to print our, like, imagine you register at the Facebook, Instagram, VK, uh, any other social media, or creating some sort of account. And the functionality of this application is going to take your input. Let's say you want to sign up as a Nur Sultan, but for some reason, this nickname or this login might be used by someone else, and you might want to, like, add some value to make it some sort of unique. Okay. So first of all, we want this value to be printed in our UI to kind of visualize it. In this case, I would like to create a function print set username. Let's say value or value of username, and we're gonna say printed value that in text is going to be value. Let's try it. ABC, that works. That works. That works. Let's add some styles to make it not to jump back and forth. We delete it. Delete the value. Okay, not a big deal. Yeah, the function works. Let's take our input field and add event listener type of I forgot the type of this event listener. Change and let's say type and then a function typing handler. So we're typing something here. Let's describe this function. Typing handler is going to take event and then value is equal to e dot target that value. Okay, and of course we're going to set username that value.
Do we need to say as we are typing it?
Sorry?
Do we need to see the username as we are typing or when you entered it?
When we're typing, let's change
Then key up, I think.
key. Yes.
Key up, right? Or key.
Key.
I think key up.
Key up. There is another type of event. Yeah, but it works for now, right now. And it is good. Color, let's see. Let's pick some color. Okay. And there is, now we can see that works. But there should be a problem. Imagine every time we click some button, our front-end application sends a request to backend and say every type, and it asks, does a queue exist? And when we send the queue, backend server is supposed to take all user exist in the database and say, is that user exist or not? You type the next one. Let's say query, right? Query. And every time you type it, it sends a request. So imagine you delete it and type something else. That means we can even count how many times that could be. Let's say let request count is equal to 0. Every time we set our username, use this function, imagine we send the request to our backend server. Plus plus and we're going to print it. We type something and we delete, we type something else, and there you go. In less than 5 seconds, we sent 40 requests to backend server. And our backend team is not going to be happy from so many requests. We can even DDoS our backend in some case. Using timeout function, we can achieve a solution where we are going to send request to backend server and ask if the user ADGG exists. If not, create this account. In those cases, when the user stop typing. So what we can do in that case? For that case, of course, we can use a timeout function. You may say, okay, just set timeout. Set timeout. Let's say, let's use set username. After 1 second, give to this function value of value. Okay, and doesn't look that bad, but let's see how it's gonna work out. Let's type A. Yeah, of course, it's sending a request with a delay of 1 second, but it doesn't solve the problem. It's just delayed execution of the request, but doesn't limit the number. In that case, we can use the function to clear timeout. Imagine before we do a request, we can say let timeout ID or let is equal to 0. And before we set our timeout, we want to clear the previous. Let's say we want to clear timeout. And let's say we want to clear timeout with timeout of ID. And set timeout again. What is going to happen right now? I'm going to type A, B, C. Oh, it doesn't work. Timeout, yeah, because we didn't assign this value to. Yeah, we clear timeout and we reassigned the new one after it's been cleared. There you go. A, B, C. Try again. We can type in as many symbols as we want, unless our time frame 1 second ends. Only then our input is going to be taken, processed, and sent to backend. Here. How it looks like. Are you guys following?
Yes, but I didn't get the idea.
The idea of why is that necessary, or how we implement it?
What we are doing.
What we are doing? Okay.
Yeah.
But do you guys see the outcome? Do you see how the problem was solved?
Yes, we send the request only once.
Yes, exactly. Instead of you can type 10 or as many symbols you want. Yeah, it's been sent one time. The problem is solved. How we achieved this problem or this solution? I'm trying to explain it on fingers. On each execution here, each time we type something, we get our value. It's kind of clear. It doesn't need to be taken more detailed. I think it doesn't it makes sense how we get it. Okay. At the very first time, we have our ID 0. ID is equal to 0. Our clear function, clear timeout function takes and clears ID of 0. Let me do it like that. ID of 0. Then, when it comes to the next line of execution, we say, okay, you cleared all previous timeout, now set new timeout. And here, we set timeout is equal to 1. Okay? And if you click one time, after 1 second, it's been executed, right? One click doesn't affect anything. But let's take a look. 2 clicks. Okay, I'm going to type A, B. And I'm going to type it within expiration of timeout 1 second. The first time ID is 0. ID is 0. And clear timeout is cleaning up ID 0. Nothing so far is being cleared up. But set timeout assigns our timeout ID to 1. 1. Okay, looks good. Second click within 1 second. The ID is equal 1. And our clear timeout function is cleaning, deleting this previous timeout, and it's not gonna happen anymore. But the next timeout at this moment is equal to 2. And then as many times is you click is going to have the same effect. 3. And so forth. So you click and the previous timeout is going to be cleared, but the very last one is going to stay on and finally to be executed. Yeah, I know it might be still confusing.
I just still don't understand what clear timeout does. If he is stopping before this delay will happen, or
Can you say again your question, please?
yeah, with clear, what was it? Another clear interval, clear interval. I understand that.
Mhm.
Just stop that repeating, and but clear timeout. What
Clear
he
timeout. Remember, we have increment
yes
with delay of 1 second.
before 1 second when you
Yeah, before 1 second. Actually, it's 3 seconds, right? It's we'll click 1, 2, 3, and it's. But if at the interval, if during these 3 seconds, I'm going to click cancel, and cancel button is clear timeout. See increment. We increment, click an increment, we increment and give it time frame 3 seconds. And we create increment ID. And on the cancel button, if we click cancel button, cancel, yes, cancel button. If we click it, we clear this timeout and not gonna increment unless it happened. So we increment and we click cancel. There you go. Let's even add some details. Okay, say clear it. Timeout number 8. And now if we take a look at our console, increment, increment it, but every time we make it, yeah, we cleared timeout, but it's already happened. It already was executed.
So yeah, Takhir, in this case, when we are typing into this input field, every time we are typing before 1 second, it's calling the function and canceling that set that ID, right? Or it's a clear. It's canceling, and when we stop so typing for 1 second,
It's executed.
And it's executed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
yeah understand. Yeah, that thing I understood. ID, I don't understand how we use ID, which equal to 0.
We just have to declare some variable on the global scope, because if we, let's say, if we make it here inside this function, so every time we click, the ID is going to be 0, and we're not going to store the value of ID, right?
Yes.
So every time, but we need a value of the previous timeout, right? So that's why we need it.
So right now is 0. You made it equal to set timeout.
Let's add some printing functionality, and we can navigate through that. The balancing is kind of challenging. It might take a little bit of time to settle down in your
Yeah, what clear timeout does with ID. If it was he keep it as 0.
Let's every type, let's print what we have here. So every time we type, we are going to see timeout ID, and let's take a look at the value. And that is pretty much it, what we need to see here. Well, A, B, C, D, not C, S, or we restarted. Well, you see, first time we click the ID, the timer ID, not timer, timeout ID. Value we don't need to clarify.
You said set timeout has ID, right? Set timeout has ID. You are calling it again and again.
Yeah, timeout has ID. And when you assign this value to this timeout, to this variable, next time you do the same function, it already knows the previous value and it clears it. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't happen yet, so it's going to cancel this timeout and kill this. It's probably better to say kill this process before it exists. But if it hasn't, if it executed, that's fine.
The clear timeout, which contains timeout ID, when he works, he just он останавливает его в том же, имея то же значение, или возвращает до нуля, когда срабатывает?
It just takes the value, just read it and does nothing and doesn't mutate it. Because every time you assign the value, let's say every time we click, we create a new ID. We can click 100 times and it's going to give us like 100 IDs and 100 processes, and it can be unlimited. And every time is going to kill previous. So yeah, it's kind of challenging.
It's just stopping timeout, not resetting the ID number, right?
No, resetting the ID is going to reassigning on the last input. If I do it 3 times, yeah, so 3 times this function is executed, and the timeout ID number 3 now is here.
Yeah, I mean, this function is not, it's just stopping the previous timer, clear timeout.
It stops previous timer.
Uh,
It kills
and
previous
setting,
timer.
yeah, and setting the new ID for the new set timeout.
Yeah,
And
it
it
kills
starts from 0 again. 0 milliseconds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's kills previous and assigns the very last one. So as soon as you stop typing, the last one executes. All previous one is going to be killed and never been done.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit more clear, and
You need to practice it. Definitely, you need to practice it and make sense. It's gonna make sense. But this question is important. It's one of the fundamental part.
couldn't even explain my question. That's my problem. I will Google it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share this code in this after we have a class. And I don't know if we have a time to open. I think we can take 15 minutes to dig yesterday project of Azamat. And do some mess with that. You did it in React?
No.
Oh, God. Probably the wrong direction.
Yeah, maybe not 200 it React.
No, yeah, I was like,
right?
oh, yeah.
No, it's not mine.
To do and like that. Okay. Oh, this is our to-do list, right? Edit, save, delete. Delete. That's nice. That's cool. We don't need to do something.
We had some problem here.
Did
some
you?
bug. Yeah, but I forgot which one.
What kind of problem was that?
With the cross or forgot. Can you try everything? It's like the checkboxes. No, it's working. We had some issue yesterday.
Yeah, we
Forgot
had
which
some
one.
issues, but I think it resolved. Yeah,
How?
I also was. I don't remember. Yeah, so we had some issues yesterday, but so when I checked later, I didn't find. Yeah, I didn't find the issues.
Yeah, it's always like that.
Okay, let's make it.
And then you check tomorrow and it's not working.
It always happens. So let's using timeout. Let's click delete function, and not to delete it right away. Let's prompt us, give us opportunity to cancel our deletion. Let's say it's going to be 3 seconds. You click delete, and it counts to 3, and then it deletes. If you cancel deletion, it stays on. How does it look like? Is it something we can do?
Yes.
So let's try to do then. Okay, JavaScript. It has some other different files. Inputs. Input. Let's auto focus. It doesn't go auto focus. Auto select. All right, no big problem. It's not the topic of our. We are interested in script. First of all, I would like to see where we delete our element. Button on click edit and button on click to do. Delete to do. Type button class delete. Okay, looks great. Do we have delete to do? Command C, Command F, Command V. We have this function which handles our delete functionality. Const new to dos, and it filters. It filters our array. It's very interesting logic. Let's create delete handler function. And the same way, we're going to take ID. We're going to take ID. And we are going to do something. Inject paragraph, some paragraph, and say sure, and button cancel. Button cancel. Sure, cancel. Okay. And on click, we are going to assign a function. What kind of function it should be? Cancel deletion. Cancel deletion. Okay, cancel deletion. Let's create this function, cancel deletion. Cancel deletion is probably going to be something where we're going to clear timeout. Clear timeout. Cancel deletion. Let's substitute our button with this function. Delete to do, delete handler, and we handle this ID. Okay, we got our ID. We say button input The thing is, we have to get to this container, right? And put it next to this button. ID button. We say document that get element by ID, and we say ID. Here we are going to access our first element with ID, which is going to be edit to do. And let's edit btn. Now we can access its neighbors. For that, we can say edit button dot parent parent node that inner HTML plus equal our button. Okay. Vertex. Let's try if it's gonna work. Nope, not working. Inspect Y. Connected property parent node. Oh, it doesn't find anything with ID. Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. So now we achieved the progress when we can ask our user if he wants to delete or not. Are you guys following?
Kinda.
Kind of, yeah. At clicking on delete button, we get to its parent, and we say, okay, we got to this element, we got to its parent, we got to its parent is like a holder of all of this content. And we say add plus equal. We say your inner HTML should include also this code, which is paragraph sure and button delete, cancel deletion. So this is what approach to get to all these elements. Okay, clear. Well, next thing we can say set timeout, set timeout. And first function is going to be delete to do. Second argument is going to be some kind of countdown. Let's say you click delete, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 seconds is kind of enough. 3 seconds is enough. And the third is going to be an argument. Is going to be ID. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's been deleted. 1, 2, 3. Deleted. 1, 2, 3. We not able to prevent deletion because we haven't implemented our cancel deletion function yet. But let's see if it at least working. CLG. We say canceling deletion. Inspect. Also delete. No, it's not working. It's not working. Why? Cancel deletion. Everything looks good. Oh yeah, now it works. Cancel deletion. Okay. Let's use some global variable. Let deletion timeout is equal to 0. Timeout ID. And we can say deletion timeout ID is equal to those timeout we set when we delete it. Okay, then we can prevent this canceling by providing this value to our cancel button. Oh, I got my okay. Let's try delete cancel. There you go. It works. It works so far. Maybe not that perfect, but the cancel button does the job. Delete, cancel. What else do we have to do over here? I think I think what we're supposed to do, just remove the paragraph, sure, and remove cancel